Welcome back to another video. This week I am ploughing. And since my last video where I was ploughing, I've made a few changes to my plough, and I think I'm doing a better job. I have replaced a few of the skimmers. I replaced 2 on the top here. There is 2 on the bottom which need replaced. This one and kind of just that one. But unfortunately, I didn't realise the top skimmers are different to the bottom skimmers. So I ended up buying 4 for the top, which I only need 2, and none for the bottom. So we're still missing a skimmer on this, and it is actually making a difference. So that's a fix for another day. But I also checked the distance between my boards, and these 2 were too close. So I ended up moving this one back instead of this one forward, because I couldn't get that bolt undone right there. And I eventually got this bolt loosened off. But in hindsight, I think that was a mistake. I think I need to move that front furrow forward to make the distance between these 2 the same, and then these 2 the same. The top row here are all pretty much the same distance apart. So I think that's the reason why I have a small front furrow and a fat second furrow. So I still haven't fixed that. So forgive me, but I understand the problem now, and that's half the battle. I have also changed my depth wheels. I'm now ploughing at a shallower depth, mainly because these 3 fields have lots of hills, and I really want to plough up the hill. So I am ploughing at a shallower depth, changed my depth wheel, and to allow me to plough at a shallower depth and to adjust the depth easier, I bought a hydraulic top link. So that has also really helped. It has been going pretty well. I've been able to plough up the hill, which has been pretty nice. It's turning over really nicely as well, although the bottom of this field is a really nice soil type, but the top of that hill up there, the soil type changes and it's definitely not as nice. It's much less crumbly. Get out at the top and look at the other type of soil near the end of the video, but this soil down here at the bottom is just the nicest soil like ever. It is so crumbly. It literally just falls apart at the tiniest touch. So really good soil on this part of the field, not so good at the top of the field. I mean, them furrows are pretty level. That's not bad. So what have I done in these fields so far? Well, they were not cut for 4th cut last year because it was just too wet, and these fields just couldn't have been cut. It was too wet, so they were left, and they had quite a cover of grass over the winter, but it didn't do anything. I'll get on to why it didn't do anything shortly when I'm in the tractor. But there was a very poor crop on this come springtime, so I made the decision that this 17-acre block in 3 silage fields was going to be reseeded. So I came in here, it's probably over a month ago now, so we are really behind on actually getting this reseeded, but other jobs just took priority. I came in here, sprayed it all off with Roundup. I actually used the expensive Roundup and also the cheap Roundup to see if there was a difference. There was no difference, so lesson there is just buy the cheap Roundup. I think it's Samurai was what I used. But sprayed this all off, and we got manure spread on it 4 or 5 days ago, because slow soil indexes will come to that. And now I'm here ploughing it. Now the problem is that there is heavy rain coming tonight, and I really want to get this field at least almost finished apart from the headlands tonight, but I'm going to run out of daylight very soon, so it is what it is. I was hoping to try and get this all ploughed before Thursday. Today is Monday, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Potentially I have another plough coming to help me. Hopefully that happens, but there's no guarantees of that just yet. These fields were a total mess 5 years ago. They were full of rushes, they grew no grass, they were cut at best once a year for bales, or else grazed 15 cattle for the summer. Like, they were very unproductive. But okay, we're in the wet spot now. I rented them 5 years ago, and when I took them over, they got a few drains to fix a few problems. Oh dear, I'm sliding. Let's lift it up a wee bit. Let's lift it up a wee bit. We're gonna make it, we're gonna make it, we're gonna make it, we're gonna make it. I believe in myself. We made it. Hydraulic top link is very useful, to be fair. So I rented these fields 5 years ago. They got drained, they got ploughed, and they got reseeded. But there was a problem, and that problem was that the soil indexes were rubbish because it had never seen slurry, very little fertilizer, just the usual story. And I had put aber grass seeds into the field, and the aber grass seeds on the less than ideal soil conditions didn't survive. They were basically all gone within 2 years. I forgot to return my plough because I'm trying to talk to the camera. For the last couple of years, it's essentially been a field of weed grasses, which has been pretty rubbish. Yielded poorly, made bad quality silage. In sunny weather, it would have dried out within 4 or 5 hours, so you always have to lift it super fast. So I have learned from that mistake. And what I'm going to do to change... Oh, diff lock, I need diff lock. I really need diff lock. Oh, it's such a wet spot. How is it so soft? It makes no sense. So these fields have been performing worse and worse and worse over the last few years, and I decided that this spring would be a good opportunity to finally get them reseeded and get them fixed. So what am I going to do to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen again? Well, the main thing I'm doing is I am building a little bit of a lane to improve access into these fields, and the idea behind that really is just so that it's easier for us to get slurry onto these fields. They are down a person's tarred private lane to their house, and I'm really reluctant to make a mess of that lane. If I have to, I will do it, but at wet times of year, I try and avoid it. So that means it often doesn't get slurry when every other field does, and it really needs slurry. It's index 0 and 1 for K, and it's index 0 and 1 for P. So it needs a lot of slurry. So besides improving access, I am also going to sort out, I need diff lock. I'm also going to try and sort out the soil indexes on these fields. And what that's going to look like is applying some diammonium phosphate to raise the P indexes. The middle field just behind me is actually P index 0, which is extremely unusual for this farm. And I'm going to try to consistently apply muriate of potash after each cut of silage until I get the K indexes up to 3s, which is where I have the rest of the farm. I can't really remember the K indexes off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure they're 1. I'll put up the little map so you can see what they are. Maybe 1 or 2 of the fields are 2 negative, but there's definitely one of the fields is 1. It's also going to get some lime. It is an okay pH. It got lime 5 years ago, but I am actually increasing my soil pHs from my previous sort of satisfactory being 6 to 6.2 up to 6.5. So I'm trying to get all of my soil pH levels a little bit higher and get everything up to 6.5. So we have better access, we're going to sort out the soil indexes, we're ploughing the fields to try to dry it out so we can get in and out and get the grass on and off, get the slurry done, get the fertilizer on earlier. So the final thing, which I got very wrong the last time, is we need to pick the grass seed. It's so much easier ploughing when you're going in that little bit shallower. The last time I reseeded these fields, I used the highest yielding variety possible, which was Abergain. And at the time, that felt like a good idea. Surely you want to use the best possible varieties. However, it didn't work. It totally failed. and I'm going to use much more conservative grasses, which is really late heading grasses on this field this time. These fields are not that dry. They do not have good access, and I need a grass seed variety which is going to survive if it doesn't get sowed with fertilizer until April, or it misses 1 or 2 slurry applications. I'm in the wet spot again, give me a minute. Actually, I got it through that time, no problem. So I haven't picked the exact grass seed varieties. We will do that tomorrow. I will video it and stick it in at the end of this video. But general principles are going to be 40% tetraploid, 60% diploid. That's a good sort of standard rule. And I'm going to try and go for intermediates and lates. So no earlies are going into this field. Oh, that's a big hill to be turning. I feel like the tractor's going to cope. Oh my goodness. I'm also going to pay pretty close attention this time to ground cover, because I want a thick sole on these fields to carry the machinery better. That is very, very different grass seed to what I have been sowing over the last few years, and this is a good 3 fields to try it out. So this is the top of the field, and it is a different type of soil. It's much more like a clay, but it's not a clay, maybe a clay loam, something like that, whereas down at the bottom of the field is really sandy or silty, so it's probably a silt loam, obviously. But down there, if you remember, whenever I picked up a block of the soil, it just crumbled into little tiny pieces and fell apart. In theory, I think when I lift a piece of this soil, it will be more angular and break into larger blocks. That's what should happen. It might not, it might crumble exactly the same, but you can see where the plough has passed is a really shiny finish. We also weren't getting that at the bottom of the field, so it definitely is a much more clayey soil. And if I squeeze it, it's still really crumbly, but it's more like angular blocks. It doesn't just disintegrate, it splits. I don't know if that comes across in camera, but believe me, in my hand it feels different. It takes pressure to split it, whereas at the bottom of the field it took next to nothing and the entire block just fell apart. It's taking more pressure. I can't really get across how much pressure I'm putting, but trust me, it's more. I'm pretty happy with my ploughing. I know it's not perfect, but it's doing the job. So I'm happy. I'm going to put my extremely expensive camera onto the plough and try and get like a nice little montage shot. This might be a bad idea, but I'm willing to risk it. Okay, let's see if this works. If I bury my camera, I am going to be so angry. Is this a really bad idea? Is this a really bad idea? I don't know. We'll try it. If it falls off, I'm not going to get stopped in time. That's what I'm worried about. I don't think it'll fall off. I think I'm okay.
I can hear the words you speak when the west wind whispers. I can hear your voice ring clear in the evergreens. Am I who you thought I'd be? Am I what you pictured? Did you have me standing here in your wildest dreams? Oh, just like a memory, you never left me. You just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat. So I still get shivers. Running like a family car down on Corporate Day. Did you find mom up there? Tell me, are you with her? I wonder if the ones who go miss the ones who stay. Oh, just like a memory, you never left me. You just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat.
That was too close. I almost lost the camera. Right, I'll chat to you in the morning and we will actually pick the grass seed for these 3 fields. And I will probably be here another hour at least, so it's gonna be a long evening. Okay, welcome back. It's now Wednesday morning. I got a little bit of ploughing done yesterday, but it has rained so much that the ploughing is gonna have to wait a day or 2 until it dries up again. I need to get my grass seed ordered today because I'm gonna try and get these fields all finished up and sowed by Monday evening. Now, it's ambitious, but I'm going to be doing silage again on Tuesday. So I kind of need to get it done by Monday evening. So I need to order grass seed this morning. So let's pick some grass seed varieties. Am I recording? Yes, I am. That's a GeoGuessr joke. You won't get it because no one will watch it. But anyway, this is what we're using, the AHDB recommended grass list. It used to be done here in Northern Ireland, but DAERA being totally useless, they cancelled the funding for it. So we now base our choices on the UK, the GB list. So again, like I said earlier in the video, we are looking for about 50-60% diploid, 50-60% tetraploid. Tetraploids will tend to be higher yielding, higher energy, but they're much thinner on the ground. So we maybe want to push more diploids, but then it's hard to get diploids to match the energy and yield, so I'm constantly being drawn towards tetraploids. We'll see what happens. What else do we want? We don't want earlies. That's one decision which we have made. So, right, let's see what we've got. So we're looking for, we don't want any earlies. Now, I've used a lot of Genesis and Mulia before. Good yield, really good ground cover, really good energy. Should we use some earlies? Should we use some earlies? We'll not rule it out. I'm just breaking my rules already. This is probably going to end up exactly like every other grass seed mix I've made for the last few years because there just is a best grass seed mix, but we'll see. Keep in mind this heading date 14th of May, ground cover 6.5 for Genesis. That's really good. Anyway, let's assume we're not using earlies. See what we end up with. So, intermediates. So they are 10 days later heading, right? Yeah, no earlies. We're sticking to our rule, no earlies. We're trying something different. So what we want from our intermediates is we want decent ground cover, good energy, and good yield. And we want to keep all our heading dates within about 7 days. So we need to bear that in mind as well. See, the thing is, this is going to be cut at the same point as all the other silage ground. I'm not going to leave it. So does heading date really matter? Should we go with earlies? Everything else is going to be cut. It's not going to be cut later. So maybe that's a stupid rule. I think that's a stupid rule. I think we prioritize ground cover. We prioritize ground cover, and we don't worry about heading date. Sorry, I'm literally just thinking of this on the fly. Right, I think that's a good idea, you know, I actually do. Right, okay, just, no earlies. No earlies, right. So Boyne, I've used it before, Galgorm, I've used it before, Moira, I've used it before, Aberwolf was what was in the field, we're not using it again. D value is very important in a silage grass. So the obvious choice here is Galgorm. I have used it tons of times before, and I think I'm going to use it again. While Boyne does have slightly better ground cover, you lose a lot of energy, it is not worth that. Aston Conqueror, again, you lose yield, you lose a bit of energy, you gain on ground cover. It's crown rust resistance is actually something we have some problems with if the variety is really susceptible to it because we have such damp conditions, so it kind of rules out that variety. So then you're kind of left back to where I always end up, which is Galgorm. So we're going to put Galgorm in. Let's write down some facts about Galgorm. Galgorm, 22nd, 105, 74.6, 5.9. Okay. I've also used quite a bit of Gosford before. It's nice because of the ground cover, and we also need to keep our diploid levels pretty high. So I think we add in some Gosford as well. We can always score it out if we don't want it. 28th, so it's within our 7 days. 101 for yield, 73.5 and 6.3. So we have two diploid intermediates, Galgorm and Gosford. Tetraploids for intermediate varieties, again, Fintina is just like I have to use it sort of thing, but then the crown rust is rubbish. Maybe that's why I have problems with ground rust sometimes, because I have never actually noticed that. Let's try leaving Fintina out. Yeah, let's leave Fintina out. It's also not got great ground cover, so we're skipping Fintina. Seago, I've used it before. Good yield, okay energy, decent ground cover. What would be better than that? Dunluce, we're getting to the edge of our limit for heading dates. Yeah, it's worse, don't use Dunluce. Right, decision is made. We are going to add in some Seago. And heading date is the 22nd of May. Nicely done. 106, 72.7 and 6.0 for ground covers. That's our intermediate tetraploid. Late diploids. Now we're into lates. I very rarely will use lates, so this is new for me. If we are going to use a late, we want to prioritize ground cover. I'm not enjoying these yields at all. They're pretty depressing. There's a few good examples like Ballinvoy, good-ish yield, good energy, excellent ground cover. Crown rust eliminates it. Aber 7, it's an Aber, I'm not using Abers, it was a disaster the last time. Skip that, nothing of interest. These are all too late. Tetraploids, I've used Ballintoy before, I've used Grace Hill before. Abergain was the other variety which I had sowed, and it was a disaster, so we don't want that. Ballintoy has really good yield. Ground cover's not amazing. I would be tempted to use it. It's pushing our heading dates, but no. Crown rust again. Let's skip it. No, not using it. We don't want any Italians. I do use a lot of, where is the Balmultra 2? That's my Italian variety, which I use a lot of. Really crappy ground cover, but it works. We don't want any hybrids either. Timothy, we want some Timothy. Comber is the one I normally use, but let's go with Presto. I'll put a wee bit of Timothy in just to try to thicken out the sole. So let's use some Timothy, and we're going to use Presto. Okay, so now we need to work out our inclusion rates. So it is a 14 kilogram bag of seed, and we want to prioritize our diploids. So Galgorm and Gosford, we need to make 60% of our mix up with them, and then we have one tetraploid variety, which is our Sego. So 14 kilograms, we want 1 kilogram of Timothy. So that takes us down to 13 kilograms, and 50% of 13 kilograms is 6.5. So let's go with 8 kilograms of diploids, and we'll go with 5 kilograms of tetraploids. So 5 kilograms of Fintona, and then 8. So let's go 4 kilograms and 4 kilograms of Galgorm and Gosford. So 4 plus 6 is 14 kilograms. So our final seed mix is as follows. We're going to put in 4 kilograms of Galgorm, which heads on the 22nd of May, and it has an okay ground cover of 5.9, but it has excellent yield and energy values. Then we're going to put in 4 kilograms of another intermediate diploid, which is Gosford. It heads 6 days later on the 28th. It has decent yield, decent energy, and it has very good ground cover at 6.3. Finally, finally, we have Sego, which is a tetraploid, heads on the 22nd of May, same as Galgorm, has excellent yield at 106% of 14.35 tons, decent energy, and it has good ground cover. Finally, we're going to add in 1 kilogram of Timothy, and we're going to go with the earliest heading Timothy possible, which is Presto at 1 kilogram. And the idea there is it'll just add like a little layer, a little ground cover layer into the sward. So that's our mix. It's fairly conventional. It's nothing special, to be honest. The advantage of mixing your own grass seeds over going and buying a grass seed is that if you buy a grass seed, there'll be an extra 2 or 3 varieties in there which are just there for filler. They're just there to reduce the price, increase the profit margins, and get rid of grass seed varieties which they don't necessarily want. There are some grass seed mixes I've seen, and they have varieties in them which aren't even on the recommended list anymore because they're so old. So highly recommend mixing your own. I will be ordering this grass seed through Fian Valley. They do not sponsor me. They have not given me a penny of discount, much to my discontent, but they make good grass seed. They're willing to mix grass seed for you. They deliver it for you at very short notice. So I cannot complain. They do a very good job when it comes to grass seed. Anyway, I'm going to go order this. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, give it a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I have just hit 10,000 subscribers, so thank you all very, very much. Any suggestions, criticism, comments, compliments, stick them down below in the comment section, and I will see you on Saturday. Thank you very much for watching.